everyone, and welcome to the Performance Growthcast by AdChampagne, where we celebrate success stories and insights from people shaping the future of performance marketing. I'm Polina, head of PR at AdChampagne, and today we have Dmitry Zaytsev, Google Ads team lead at AdSkill. Dmitry, welcome to the podcast, and thanks for joining us today. How's it going?
Hi, going great. Thanks for inviting me.
Great. So let's kick off. Today we'll explore how automation, analytics, and data-driven insights are reshaping the industry. But let's start by getting to know you better. Could you please tell us about your journey at AdSkill and what being a team lead of one of the dominating sources there means on a daily basis?
Yeah, for sure. My journey started over a year ago. I was invited to join Google Ads team from the very, very beginning, and it was all due to some very, very lucky networking. And here I am, 6 months in, I think, maybe 7, and I became the team lead of the source of Google Ads. And this year proved to be really focused on maintaining and actually developing new relationships with Google itself. We've been to a few events together. And also bringing new understanding of the whole team about our positioning and the current situation in the market. And as of this month, I'm heavy into building a team that stands behind this kind of top-notch service, hiring new people and actually teaching them new stuff.
Actually, it seems like you're having a very productive year, and it's just so impressive that you build up for a position of a team lead in just 6 months. It's really kind of breakthrough. So now you are managing campaigns, building relationships, leading a team all at once. But where does your passion lie? So what's the most exciting part of building EdTech products for you personally? It's maybe about data or product design or commercial side.
Not sure I can really rank them, but I suppose I enjoy the commercial side of things a little bit more than others. As I said, I've been a part of major conferences and business events lately, working on partnerships and networking while meeting people who are the real backbone of the whole industry. And I'm not saying that I deem this the most important part. It's just the one that I like more. And all of these parts are equal in their importance for sure.
Great. So you mentioned those business events, conferences, and networking sessions. Actually, in my opinion, this could be the most reliable source of the top industry insights. And more than that, at AdSkill, you work with different geos and verticals every day. So coming to the main block of our questions, I'm sure all marketing professionals would like to know. Which verticals are showing the strongest momentum according to your latest projects and campaigns at AdSkill? Maybe some networking sessions.
Yeah, this is still kind of a really vague question, so please expect kind of a vague answer to it. And it's not me being holding on to any information, to be honest. Having to factor in all the seasonality and the specifics of the data that we hold of our sample, I've learned so that info business it was kind of at the forefront of this development this year, or some might call this industry education tech or EdTech. And it has seen a steady growth throughout the year, but as far as Google Ads goes and some other platforms, sometimes it faces some source-related issues like new policies developing that are really harsh on this industry. Then as more recent developments, I think iGaming in Europe, in the EMEA region, it has seen a surge starting this August, but it's really, to be honest, an annual kind of situation where it strikes back after this seasonal pitfall in which they usually face during summer season. But what I really have to highlight and what we've talked a lot about with Google itself is about e-commerce and about how they developed their app side this year. And that shows some astonishing momentum. A lot of new brands, they're coming and they're developing their apps, which are crazy efficient, crazy good. And they're really liked by their audiences.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I would totally agree on the growth of e-com apps because now we see more and more shopping brands and marketplaces building their own advertising ecosystems inside their apps. So the changes are quite noticeable even for just common users. But you also mentioned other verticals like EdTech and iGaming. So how does AdSkill adapt its tools or analytics for different verticals?
Yeah, so we can first of all we consult our clients on available sources for the purpose of their special vertical. And we offer from the start like the best fit bundle solution for the vertical. So let's say you come to us with an iGaming offer, we propose you the best performing ad sources for it. So this is one thing how we adapt. And it's obviously up to the client which wants to choose, and we can't really force anyone to do that, but it's hard to argue when our benchmarks from the first-hand sources are out there on the table. And as far as analytics goes, we support a range of different tracking options for all the sources, and we help our clients to connect them to bring their tracking up to the standards of the platform for it to work properly. And we go through like the installation procedures. But it's really not that different from vertical to vertical, but rather it's different from the source to the source, from ad network to ad.
So there is usually an individual approach, as far as I understood, to each particular case, and focus initially on the set of sources and channels for promotion, which could be effective for web or app promotion instead of a vertical specific view. It's a very interesting point, by the way. But coming back to e-com apps, which are growing rapidly right now, I guess the trend should also represent a strong shift in consumer behavior. So, how is user behavior changing in e-com at the moment?
Yeah, for sure. So back to what I was saying about the apps and their drastic surge this year. Working with Google and receiving first-hand data from them, we've seen that users who start on the web and then install the app are like 2.5, 2.4 times more likely to convert on the app. And that honestly makes total sense because people browse for the information and for what they want to achieve or buy on the web, for example, Google search, and they then go to the app where they have their billing information saved, their delivery information saved, and they would convert there. So yeah, it's just how the common sense works, to be honest.
Actually, that more than 2.5 times conversion lift is kind of significant. Yeah, I understand those numbers even as just a common consumer if we don't speak about like marketing side of a question. This bundle of web search and purchasing action inside the app works exactly as you said, because as for me, I perceive apps as user-friendly and safer platforms for buying. And now I'm curious, how do successful brands today adapt their ad strategies to match new consumer expectations? So maybe there are any examples or cases of brands that transformed their performance through data or creative testing, and maybe you could share some examples with us.
Yeah, the common pitfall is still like that too many brands focus either on just driving pure app installs blindly or on the other side capturing web leads without encouraging them like kind of to shift to this app. It's still out there, it's still a pitfall. But the best practice now is to return to your basic like customer journey map and to make sure that you guide your user and to start on the web and then transition smoothly, like seamlessly into the app without any additional KYC, without any additional hard tracking solutions. And there are a lot of instruments out there that help with this for sure, like deep linking solutions now. So yeah, really easy to install. But when we talk about creatives, I've seen that production speed currently and quality of it is increasing because of the AI platforms. But really, it doesn't change how we work with creatives in its core when we talk about ad platforms. Ways of testing the creative materials are still almost the same.
Actually, AI now is kind of a buzzword like all around in the industry, and we also see those quality shifts in working with AI tools as an agency, and those platforms can make some processes in testing, for example, easier and faster, but still any AI assistance needs to be checked and prompted really carefully. So there is a kind of disclaimer for our listeners. And turning into the ad platforms, the advertising ecosystem is constantly evolving now. So from your perspective, which ad platforms or traffic sources have shown the biggest change in performance recently?
Well, I have an opinion on this, and a lot of people might not agree with it, but I think that all platforms that shift to this AI optimization are generally winning right now, like Google, TikTok, Moloko. And it makes sense, to be honest, because look, people, regardless of how professional they are, they bring a lot of noise to the actual auctions and how the whole platform works. When we let the AI do the heavy lifting, when we let the machine do its work, basically, it gets more predictable, therefore it gets cheaper. Because when AI is trying to compete with a person, it's chaos. When AI is basically matching another AI, it works more smoothly.
That's kind of counterintuitive. So, our expertise sometimes can introduce some inefficiencies, unfortunately. But if we speak about this usage of AI within the optimization processes, so strategic decisions about where to invest money and sources and how much to invest, they become even more critical. So, how do advertisers today balance between big ecosystems like Meta, Google, TikTok, and smaller or even like alternative traffic channels and sources?
Yeah, I would say it's still a hunt because all the platforms are different in the audiences and touch points, so ad placements. So it's still a hunt for the right audience and this kind of touch point in your strategy. Still, it is the most major difference, to be honest. So businesses aim to integrate it correctly into their marketing and their financial strategy. Again, I'm not trying to be vague here, but it's like a core idea that's from which all the other ideas for marketing and for choosing the platform stem from.
In any case, applying this strategic framework and individual approach is crucial. Maybe focusing specifically on your field of work. So, speaking of Google Ads, now I hear this concern constantly from a lot of advertisers that Google Ads has a reputation for being not very predictable sometimes. Do you think it's still a dominating channel for growth?
Well, unpredictable. Because Google still remains the only platform where users explicitly tell you what they want. Well, using like Google search, you go in and you type what you want. Like a little to no other platforms actually do that. And no matter how advanced Meta or TikTok algorithms are, they still infer intent. They don't capture it. So for businesses that focus on demand capture, where there's like certain demand and you're just trying to meet it, just Google Ads is irreplaceable no matter how unpredictable it is. And honestly, just to give you like a straight up example that would be relatable to anyone, just ask yourself, like, where do you search like 80% of your information?
Yeah, actually, that's a fair point. So Google having such volumes of big data from each user, like no other source can understand the demand and direct the campaign correctly and efficiently. Coming up to the question about money and budgets, the most like common concern and maybe even a pain point here is budget efficiency. So how not to waste your ad budgets is kind of timeless question. And from your experience, what are the key signs a campaign is burning money? And what metrics and signals matter most for evaluating real efficiency today?
Well, I wouldn't really give you like metrics that because it's really case specific all the time to on which to focus. I would mostly focus like on some top tier kind of metrics like LTVs and how much your customer acquisition costs like in its core. But the idea here is that it's as simple as your unit economics goes. You put a price on your product, for example, and you figure out how much your user costs, so it still makes sense financially for you to actually run the business. From there, you already kind of can evaluate how much you'll pay for the click, for the action, and other steps of your funnel, because funnels are also different and you have different steps there. And as far as the auction insights go, there are more and more services to get a clear picture of what to expect from the start and what your competitors are doing. Let's take SimilarWeb. You can take also like integrated tools from Google itself, like Google Keyword Planner, for example. It already gives you like pretty clear idea without actually needing to launch the ads.
Yeah, unit economics here is kind of a foundation for this backward working from the value you can afford, but you still need the right tools and expertise to run like those campaigns. And here I'm curious, and the question arises: how does automation and optimization for AdSkill work, and how does it help prevent budget leakages?
Yeah, and to be honest, there is like no secret sauce here at all. We have experience and expertise working with ad sources, and we can cover questions ranging from like helping to figure out which bidding model to use for your app or your web project for your website, to actually using the best set of tools for integrations and tracking, because this is actually the place where a lot of businesses miss out. They just miss out conversions, they miss out the potential data and kind of tracking right audiences that they can reuse later for remarketing or retargeting strategies. And yeah, honestly, coming back to what I was saying, I think at the start of this talk, that choosing the right platform is kind of also the key here, not to waste budget. If the platform has like the right audience for you, and you can actually like target it, and your audience will see what you're trying to convey to them, then you'll already be winning there.
So you're still keeping all the secrets to yourself and not sharing the deepest insights, so we can understand that usually we have to implement this individual approach to each case, but the platform question is the most crucial one in each situation. So we've kind of covered vertical trends, platform shifts, and budget efficiency. What's clear here is that performance marketing is becoming simultaneously more automated on the one hand, and on the other hand, it requires a more strategic approach. And as we wrapping up, I'd love to hear your perspective on where this is heading. So if you could make one prediction about performance marketing in 2026, what would it be?
I have one. For sure. I think it's something that people keep telling like from year to year, and I think it's a unique answer that I will be using for further podcasts like in 2026, 2027, etc. But yeah, just be ready for more fierce competition. Production quality is no longer correlated with vast investments and only like leading companies. Anyone who bought Sora or Gemini or what is it, VO3 from Google can put out like top quality creatives, and it will just get increasingly harder and harder to stand out. So yeah, building up a brand, on the other hand, would be proving like really crucial. I'm not just making a creative that would blow up suddenly. It would be more gradual and more hard work.
Yeah, actually, thank you for sharing this trend and insight, because I have like the same opinion in this, as we are entering an era where tactical advantages are disappearing because everyone has access to the same AI tools. So the competitive advantage here shifts to brand and strategy. And one more question I'd like to ask you is about what's one mindset shift you think advertisers need to make to stay relevant in this like fierce competition and this competitive industry?
I quite like the idea that people and experts in the industry should start thinking of marketing as a system. It's not a one-off process of just setting up a campaign and waiting for how it's going to turn out. Only with like full-scale integration of all your ad platforms and all of your email marketing, customer relationship marketing into this cohesive like actual customer relationship system, would you succeed. You need to map out every touch point, every audience, how you collect it, how you manage it. And with its like smooth process that doesn't have any hiccups, you would really succeed.
Yeah, actually, thank you so much for sharing it, because this system thinking mindset sounds like a great advice for all the marketing professionals and our kind of fellows, as it's always beneficial to have a wider look at the situation to make it more clear. All right, while finalizing our fascinating discussion, let's kind of wrap up with a quick blitz round. I'll have 3 blitz questions. So the first one is, could you please tell us 3 words that describe AdSkill?
Customer-centric approach. Okay, this is not one word, but still, I would make it count. And efficiency.
Great. One trend we should leave behind.
Now I have to think of what really annoys me in marketing. I think clickbait and fake urgency. I just absolutely hate it, because like I see some clients do that as well, and the short-term CTR spikes at the expense of how your brand is being positioned is a losing trade this year, and honestly going forward as well.
Actually can relate. And one trend you're excited to see growing?
The one actually I mentioned about apps and about e-commerce businesses, that being like web being for search and then apps being an extension for that, because honestly, again, coming back to the pain points that I can outline right now, I hate filling out billing info on websites, and they rarely connect to my banking applications or to my Apple Pay. While buying or ordering something on the app is way more convenient. All of my billing, all of my addresses are there, and the actual this recommendation page is just tailored for me. I absolutely love that.
Likewise, like the same situation here. So great. It was a very fascinating and valuable discussion. Thank you for sharing these insights and this strategic thinking behind your approach to performance marketing. It was really cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And thank you all to our listeners who watched and listened to the Performance Growthcast by AdChampagne. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with your fellow marketers. And see you in the next one. Keep optimizing and remember, think in systems, not just campaigns. Thank you so much.
Bye.